And we're live.
Yes, we're having some technical difficulties just then. Happy Monday. Greetings, everybody. Hopefully you'll come back and join us. We could see that someone was joining us, but we had a black screen. So
you can dial. What's up?
We are so happy to be with you again on a Monday, and it's officially December. So how are you feeling about that? It's the end of the year. A lot of people are reflective at this time of year. So we figured it would be perfect to talk about purpose in relationship.
What's going on, brother?
And how to really have purpose. So in general, this time of year, I hear a lot of people, we're talking about our financial goals, our fitness goals, our educational goals, business goals. But sometimes we're not talking about our relationship goals unless it's just new phone, who this, right? Unless you're trying to drop people. You might be saying, I don't want to take this energy into...
You said that. That's what I've been saying.
I don't want to take this energy into the next year. But how do you really prevent, only thinking about this at the end of the year? Hey, yes, we are well. Peace. Glad to see you. Thanks for commenting. Mystery Do's messing with the timer right now. We're going to keep this one, succinct. So it is the end of the year. It's December, and we want to know, what relationship goal do you have going into what some people call 2018? So what relationship goal do you really have? And, the reason why we're thinking about this is because we personally think about it and want to set goals and want to talk about, what's around the house, what's in our lives, what do we want to see happen. But it's also a point that a lot of our clients are talking about. So whether you're single and you have a goal for next year that comes to a relationship, or you're married in a couple, you have your eyes on someone and you have a goal for the next year, we really want to hear what it is. So first, started out with just dropping your relationship goal into the comments. And if you haven't thought of one, but you thought of the other areas, why haven't you thought of a relationship goal? So that's kind of just how we want to open up, is talking about goals, because a lot of times we know how to, look for the other advice. We know how to set up finding a nutritionist, a personal trainer. Gym memberships are going to be up, right, in January. We might be in an investment club, a savings club. But the most important thing, and we say this like every other video, the most important thing is a relationship. So what you're really wanting more of, better health for, what you're wanting more money for, what you would like to see and experience, it's not because you're by yourself. So it really has to do with a relationship. But so often we don't set goals of, how do we want to let someone know that we love them? How do we want to, experience the people that we love? And, it's very relevant for us because we are reflecting.
Ronnie said you want to have another baby.
That's a good one. More us time. That's a good one.
That's an excellent one, yeah.
But we're, your relationships change throughout the year. So just on the realest of the real, there are some people who were with us in the beginning of the year, and that's in our family, and that are not with us in a physical right now in December. So what was happening in January is not what's happening right now in December. But so many times we forget to really let each other know that we love them. Let someone know that we love them. Let the people that we appreciate feel rewarded while we are together in the physical space. So that's what we wanted to talk about, is really how to have a relationship with purpose, how to not drop that goal, because so many people drop a New Year's goal or a resolution before January is even over, and then just how to stay reflective and on track all year.
So we talking about purpose, and I'm feeling some kind of way today. Very reflective, very, I've had a a myriad of emotions over this past week. So my energy is very even kill. And I'm cleansing and I'm drinking this lemon ginger and it's busting up my guts. So I'm gassy.
TMI.
I got all
We're
kind of
getting
things
into
going on. But, we're talking about purpose in relationships. And how do you come together to create purpose? Because a lot of times when we're working with people and we're doing intakes, but just when we take inventory with ourselves, we want to know, what is our purpose at this time? What is the purpose of this? And I think this played out. Monique Washington, peace, sis. Much love to you. We talk about you often. But we talking about purpose in terms of how we unify in our relationships. So we say often to people that, you're a man, you're a woman, you have your individual purposes, but then when you come together in a relationship, you have a collective purpose. Your purpose, the two purposes that you brought to the world, they unify and harmonize and magnify to serve the greater good. And so we strive to keep this in front of ourselves in our own relationship. And it's not always easy. Peace, Letty. It's not always easy, but we do various different things. One, for example, is this page. I'm Mansho. This is Nawasha. And so we call the page Manwasha to remind ourselves about the Black love trinity of she, he, and we. And so the page often kind of sounds that people say they think I'm Manwasha or they think she's Manwasha, but actually she's Nawasha and I'm Mansho. But this page represents the harmony of our relationship. So this page has been co-hacked. So we do that not just to be cute in terms of name, but it's one of the many reminders that we give ourselves to remember that, there's a time and space for me to be Mansho. There's a time and space for her to be Nawasha. And most of the times it's not really alike at all. We have very different personalities, but at the same time, we've learned to harmonize who we are as a unit, serving a greater good. And so when we talk about purpose, we always keep in front of us is that when we come together, we know the difference of how we are together and how we are separately. And then even in the absence of each other, we've been together so long and we've, harmonized our styles. We continuously harmonize our styles that whenever I need my inner Nawasha, I pull her out. Or whenever she needs her inner Mansho, she pulls him out. And so, this is a concept that we talk about often because we see a lot of times in relationships, what happens in the emotional immaturity is that a person comes to the relationship saying, this is how I am. And what they mean by that is that I do not intend to change, or anytime you intend to create change, what you're doing is threatening my emotional position or my psychological position. And that's antithetical to relationship growth. In other words, you're going to kill your shit with that, So a lot of times when we deal with couples, we will hear either him or her say, this is the way I was when I got here. And so they have an if-then belief that says, if you chose me and I was this way when you got me, then you shouldn't be trying to change me. But change is constant. And the harmonizing of a relationship is what brings you to elevation. If you are not willing to change that, if you on some, this is how I was when you met me, then, and a lot of people on that, if you on that, your relationship has a death certificate attached to those words. Trust and believe me, we've seen it 1,000 times. If you don't see your relationship as an opportunity to grow and change, let me just say change, because people will say grow, but they sometimes don't want to equate that with change. But if you don't see your relationship as an opportunity to change for the better, it's a wrap. It's only a matter of time. And some of you out there know what I always say. You take how long you've been together and take when you separated and somebody been unhappy for half the relationship. So if a relationship been together for 6 years and then it ends, somebody been trying to break up for 3 years. If a relationship been together for 18 months and it ends, somebody been trying to break up for 9 months. If your shit been together for 45 days, somebody knew it was over when they met your ass, but they
it was over before it started.
They just stayed around for a minute. So change is constant, but unifying your purpose. Go ahead.
That gets to the larger issue of what is the purpose of a relationship. So many times we are saying, especially when we have a goal for the new year, that we want this, it's going to make us better in whatever kind of way. So if we want the fitness goal, we're looking to look a certain kind of way, feel a certain kind of way, move a certain kind of way. If we want the financial goal, it's because we are looking for, the means and the energy and the access to having the life that we want, whatever that is. No one really wants to just be artificial and work out at the gym. No one really wants to just have paper and say that it's money, without actually being able to make the exchange.
Right.
So the true purpose of a relationship is that you are going to have opportunities for your own character development. And a lot of times, when you're an adult, you're saying, I'm just on what I'm on. I want something. I want a relationship that entertains me. I want a relationship that gives me security and provides for me. But I'm not going into it knowing that the purpose of a relationship is going to be my own character development. And I might have opportunities to help someone else highlight where they could improve their character, but that's not the focus. My actual purpose of participating in the relationship is to gain experience, lessons, practice for my own growth. And if I'm really going into that, relating to my parents that way, relating to my intimate partner that way, relating to my children that way, I'm going to recognize the purpose of the relationship. So now that's always the purpose, even when we don't recognize it. And even when we don't take inventory and we move on to the next relationship, taking the same patterns and behavior that we had in the old relationship and looking for something new. So we don't want to do that, because after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we were talking about this in our relationship and just things that we've seen. You could have the same problem, so-called, for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years.
Right.
And you might only think about it at your birthday, at an anniversary, or like we are, upon the new year for this, Roman calendar. So a lot of people are thinking about it. You're going to hear the influence of, TV commercials, your friends, your family, and this idea of newness coming in. And it really truly is the perfect time of year.
Sharing the video.
Because we're at the solstice coming up. We want to make sure that we are kind of like taking it in. Here in New Jersey, it's getting cold, and that we're really ready to do the reflective work that's going to have us, blossom in the new year and blossom in the spring. So I think that, we want to talk about purpose in a relationship overall, and how you have it, how you don't, and then really how to get it. So if you want to get a strategy session with us, you can check or click the link that says Soulmate Strategy Session, and that's a free call with us, just to get a little insight on what might be either your goal or what you feel like you need to work on, a challenge, a problem. But also, this is our last month that we are doing the beta test for Heart to Heart, which is the communication program that we have. So it starts off with purpose. So right now, if you go to the bit.ly/heart to heart link, you can get a free download of purpose and really use that heart work, use that audio portion of the program, and find your individual purpose, but also understand the purpose of every communication that you go into. So the purpose of a different argument, the purpose of wanting to share a loving word, what really is the purpose of what you're doing, and
what's the purpose of an argument?
The purpose of an argument is to elevate understanding, refine your own values and position, and better understand what's really important to another person. So now there's a lot of phases to the argument, and how you want to be aware of what's happening, and how you want to be able to shift when you have tension, to shift back to loving energy versus just trying to win the argument. But the purpose of misunderstanding or discord or conflict or chaos is to come back around to order
It is
and
an
balance.
emotion. It's a hyperlink to greater understanding and greater ease. So
I was just going to say, how do you
go ahead.
know if you have purpose?
How do you know if you have?
So I'm going to speak from my point of view, and a lot of women, just in the practical. You know you're moving in purpose and you're living in purpose, walking in purpose when things start to align for you. So when you really, especially as a woman, and you're in the nurturing creative energy, a lot of times when we are battling and we have conflict, internal conflicts or conflict with other people, it's because we're not really using the things that are naturally feminine. That is our intuition, or our time to quit, our time to start, our time to go all in, our time to retreat. A lot of times we're not doing that. And the number one way you know that your relationship does not have purpose is if you are drained, if it does not give you energy. So now the truth is that, that everything is in balance. Right. So there's always the dichotomy and polarity of, back and forth, give and take, up and down, push and pull. But if you've been drained all year, if you do not feel fulfilled and happy, if you feel that every conversation is a chore and you don't even want to look at the person and, you don't want to be around them and you're repulsed by them as a woman, you're not in a relationship of purpose. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that this is what you're magnetizing? What are you putting out that this is what you're getting back? That you're saying, this is it. We're done. At the end of this year, I'm changing my phone number. I'm moving. I'm relocating.
We're breaking up.
We are over. And I'm looking for something different. And I don't even really know what that is. But the longing is for deeper connection, fulfillment, passion, excitement. And really, we talk a lot about purpose. But the truth is, your purpose is your unique gift to the planet. So I love Malidoma Somé. And Sombofu Somé. And I love the way that, Malidoma Somé describes purpose, because he says everyone gets a gift. So this is just a cultural, Black indigenous cultural philosophy that you are born in order to give something. From the very beginning, you're going to give something to your parents. You're going to, prayerfully grow and give something back to yourself, to the community, to nature. And then in a divine soulmate relationship, you unify, and together you give something else back to the community and create your own children. But the idea of that purpose is that your gift can be given in a lot of different ways. So you can say, hey, I have the gift of, creativity. When I'm younger, I'm going to draw, I'm going to make up stories. When I'm older, I'm going to, create platforms or create software or, still create art, create music, create dance, create a business that no one thought about. But your gift is to be able to see creativity, to act on that, and to attract, magnetize others with your creativity. Your purpose can change from year to year, station to station, stage of development. And that's the same thing that happens in your relationship. So a lot of times we're not acknowledging each other's gifts because we're in that mindset of, this is just how I was. And this is what I think my gift is. And you don't got no gifts. So everybody has a gift, and the purpose is attached to your gift. So before you can have a relationship of purpose with yourself and recognize your purpose and really share it, you have to be aware of your own unique gifts and not be shy about them, but just really be
go ahead. What's up?
Honest, and just really be ready and just really feel that there's a divine purpose, again, a divine mechanism that bestowed the gift on you for yourself and the rest of the world.
I agree. So, what I would say, I think your purpose, the way you deliver your purpose can change over a period of time, especially in your relationship. But what the actual purpose is doesn't change. And I liken it to like our career path. So you may be a nurturer of people, and at one time you're a coach and you nurture your team, At another time, you're a preacher and you nurture your flock into a spiritual understanding. And then at another time, you may be, say, a teacher and you're nurturing the educational process of the people that you deal with. So the way you delivered the nurturing energy, the way you delivered that energy changed, but what you were doing stayed the same. And so I think that purpose is very important. You know, like lately, with the intakes that we've been doing with couples, right? The couples work, and even the single people. A lot of the men have been saying to us that they're really looking to have a power couple. And I applaud all of the men who are saying that. Salute to you, because I'm happy to see so many black men, black and brown men that are looking for a power couple dynamic. So that's something that we want to help you with. What I often say to the men is that you have to understand, to be a power couple means that you have to share power. And however you define power, a lot of times men are defining power different ways, physically, financially, culturally, or intellectually, with a certain body of knowledge. And they go into the relationship with a belief that there's not an equity in the power. So like, I know a bunch of stuff, or I have some more money than you. Excuse me, this ginger is working on me. Or something is going on with my life. I'm the NBA player, and you know, you might be the actress, but I'm the NBA player. And so the power dynamic is equal, because there's no such thing as dating down or anything like that we say in pop culture. But psychologically, the man doesn't believe there's an equality. And the ultimate equalizer for the imbalanced male is sexuality. So we are taught in this misogynistic culture that I may not be working right now, I may not have as much money as you, what have you, but I can slay and lay. And so that makes me still dominant. And that's a myth. That's crazy. But a lot of men that I talk to individually really believe that. They really believe that. So, you know, I applaud those brothers that's talking about power couples and stuff like that. But I think it's interesting that they talk about being a power couple, but they don't believe that they should share the power. In other words, the give and pull. So like, I want to be the police to you, to my woman, and tell her when she's violating or when she's right or wrong. Or I want to be the teacher, but I don't want to share. I don't want to be the student, and I don't want you to police me. And so that imbalance comes across a lot with the brothers that we see. And so, you know, I again extend to help brothers understand the art, the perspective of a relationship from an African paradigm is that we're sharing balance and truly sharing. So that if you believe that you are a provider for your woman, I ask them, you know, name me 3 things off the top of your head that your woman provides for you. If you can't answer me with 3 things, then that's something to look at. It doesn't, I mean, you don't have to trip off of it, but it's something to look at. And so we have to develop our understanding, because if you're in a relationship, there is truly a power exchange. But a lot of times the way we model the culture that we're in, we destroy ourselves with it. So I think that that's important to understand for men with purpose. But I would say that culturally, the thing I would say about purpose is that something that I heard many years ago, and we say it often in our work. Your relationship is just not just about you. Your relationship is for the greater good. So there is a part of your relationship, obviously, that's intimate and sacred. So it's not something that you share. You know, you want to get out and you want to be with your love and your beloved and share that intimacy and that moritic energy that is just for the two of you. But then there is a equally important part of your relationship that is for the community at large. And this is what we've always understood when we've practiced our indigenous culture. So what do the children become when they see power couples, black man and black woman? What do the elders feel when they see couples? What do the single people believe and start to think when they see power couples? One of the 7 reasons that we talk about that people are fearful of being in relationships, even though in their heart they want to, they have that internal conflict, is one of the reasons. There's 7 of them. I won't go into all of them, but one of them is you just don't see examples of what you want to be, and so hopefully we are that for you and other couples are that for us. And we continue to develop that kind of concept so that we can really live and love in purpose. What is the purpose of a bunch of couples coming together? We raise a nation that way, and we live a divine spiritual purpose that will benefit us individually. So I would just say to the brothers, again, I salute you. I love you. Thank you for over the last couple of months, all of the men, like 8 or 9 men, something like that. Was it, babe? 8 or 9 men that came in with their queens. A couple of the relationships dissolved, but are dissolving. But most of the brothers came in, and I when I talked about purpose with them, that's what I was hearing. I just want to be this power couple and this couple that is grounded on concepts that will move us. But then we also, we doing this and they talking in power terms like this superhero dynamic. And I always warn men to be careful of superhero complex and how it will distort your mind, because it's not your cultural paradigm. To be a superhero is different than being a superhero. So purpose is important. And I want to hear more men saying that they're looking for friendship with their woman, because that's not something that I'm hearing a lot of. I'm hearing these other abstract things, but when you're seeking out friendship and you can apply friendship in your love relationship, especially for the man, especially for the black man, if you can apply friendship to your partner and stop trying to be her teacher or her police officer, then you can reveal your divine purpose and see where your work is. So many men talk to me about the work that they see their woman needs or whatever, but they don't really talk about as much the value that she brings to them in terms of them getting self-work and self-development. Antonio Guerra. And Kerheb Osiris Day. Hotep brothers. So, so that's what I think, Queen. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm feeling lately. So I'm in a real zone. I'm in this feeling. Brothers might know what I'm talking about. Sisters might know what I'm talking about. It's a step below happy and a step above melancholy. So it's like Malapi or something. I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling 100% elated, and I'm not sad, but I'm in a very reflective space. And I think that's what you were talking about toward the end of the year, and all of the work that we got going on, the good things that we got coming for the new year. We're very excited about for the Greco-Roman New Year, and just where we are as a family and what's going on in our lives. So it's a very interesting time. So that's my piece.
This is something that in all of the other areas of your life, when you're taking inventory, it's so important to take inventory in your relationship. So really just saying, hey, I'm going to, take 30 minutes to an hour out of my 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. I'm going to do this one time, but I'm going to sit and say, what happened in January, what happened in February, what happened in March, go through the year because it gets you a little bit of perspective. And you really get to see how much time a year is. So I think a lot of times the older that you get and the more goals that you have, the more things that you desire and want for yourself and for your relationship, you can, get obsessive, or have this feeling of nervousness or frustration or anxiety when it's coming to anniversaries. You're excited, but, our culture sometimes is on fear or on separation. And the truth is that we're unified. We have unified purpose. As a community, we're here to support each other's purpose. And there is no competition. There is no, doesn't need to be any jealousy. What somebody else has, you can easily create for yourself. And you're more likely to create it.
Glorious one.
If you ask them how they created it, if you can model their mindset.
Right.
And that's why we're seeing, the shift that happens in people. This is, again, we talked about the holidays a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about that kind of added, intensity of emotion and what that is.
Right.
That's really moving through you, seeing people that you don't normally see, having goals and desires for your family, for your children. And then just the idea of love and connection is really high at this time of year, even if it's just falsely perceived. But the idea is that it's high for some people. It's the movies that are playing, the music that is playing, and all of those things adding up to this is one phase ending officially. How are you going to remember 2017 and another phase coming in? And if you want to have purpose, you really have to be yourself, especially if you want to align with a soulmate and have a unified purpose. You're not going to find your soulmate if you are not yourself, because the idea is you are going to compliments. So what would, if you're not yourself,
said success leaves clues.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you're not being yourself,
sounds like Robin's Medallion.
how can you attract what your true compliment is? And this is back to what's really going to fulfill you. So take inventory of the year. If there are people that you want to spend more time with, or new people that you don't know, that you would like that type of energy in your life, then now is the time to get your momentum. Now is the time. So you have a period of reflection, but you also have the period of what is new and what you can anticipate and what is coming up for the future. So you want to be able to say, if I'm missing fun and I'm missing excitement and I'm missing entertainment and connection, I want to create that in the new year. And I don't want to just say that I want that. And I'm going to say that for the first 2 weeks of January. And then I'm back on, it's about to be Akoma Day and Valentine's Day. I'm just back on to the machine of month to month to month. And I'm going to just be regretful again at the end of the year. You want to say that, how can I create, I want to be around more funny people. First is embodying yourself, and then magnetism and attraction and compliments is connecting with other people who are like-minded. So what we have to really say is there's a period for reflection. Go through that. Pick a day this week before next Monday and say, let me just take inventory of all the babies who were born, the people who transitioned, things that I gained in my life, things that I let go of, and let me be purposeful more often and reflective more often. So that it's not just that around, December, I start saying, what is my New Year's resolution? Or I'm really disappointed about how things went in my relationship, but I didn't act on them.
Right. I had a very, when you say reflective, I keep reflecting on the fact that you're saying reflective. I had an emotionally charged week. I think I cried twice. I passed out laughing like 3 times. I was in frustration a couple of times, and I spent a lot of times in anticipation and excitement, a couple passionate days, and I was able to experience a tremendous pendulum swing within this week of emotions, and I think that's part of the reason why Nawasha told me I was snippy this week.
I didn't say this week. I said one moment.
Oh, okay. I thought it was this week. Well, you know what? That's so interesting.
That's probably just speaking to because some internal dialogue.
Yeah, I think that was my internal dialogue. Because I was feeling snippy the entire week. So, and it's so funny that I reached out to a couple of friends that I really love. People like Glow, people like Stacy, people like Free, and just having conversations talking about the purpose of the things that we feel. And one thing I find, and I think I shared with you, is interesting. Some of the people, some of the well-meaning people, supportive people, were saying to me like, "Oh, release this emotion and don't feel that." And their intention is to be supportive. I understand that, but my understanding of emotions and what we share with people often is that what we've been taught from African paradigm is that there's no such thing as a negative emotion. So all emotions have purpose. So we're talking about purpose. And so if you feel frustration, if you feel depression, if you feel hurt, even if you feel what we often call drama, people are often saying, I don't want any drama. I want to move away from that. But a lot of times the universe is sending you drama to perfect your character. And so if you're constantly moving away from that, you never develop that thing that is underdeveloped and will not develop until you go through the drama. And so, I just been in that reflective state, and I'm just resonating with that as you're saying that, about our relationship, about our life, about our work, about our legacy, about our children, and some of the challenges that we've had this week dealing with them. And, it's just a really interesting thing. And then when you align it with cleansing and the end of this, this year that, a lot of times I try to pretend that I hate this year, that it's not the end of the year, because I know it's not the universal black calendar or the Kemetic calendar or the different initiations that we've had, but it is the end of the year of the Reco, the Roman Reco year. So I can't front on that. The year is coming to a close, and so it's definitely a reflective time for minds like mine. So all those brothers and sisters out there that I'm tight with, let's reflect and let's think about purpose. What are you going to do? What are you here for? What is your relationship about? What is the purpose of your life in this space and time, and how are you going to get it across? So that's something to really reflect on.
And you have it, some of our frustration and some of our disappointment or just discontent is because we know in our subconscious and sometimes in our consciousness that we are not living our purpose. We're not sharing our gifts to our own expectation of our potential. And that's a lot of times what we see so easily reflected in another person that highlights those things. That's why sometimes you're like, okay, I'm dropping this relationship because it's highlighting what I don't know, what skills I don't have, or it's bringing me something that I don't want to experience. And sometimes you do have to let go of relationships. So now is another, it's a perfect time, again, in the reflection part of it, you want to say,
perfect time to break up.
It is, but it's a time to break up for real. So what we see sometimes with people is, and we see this with ourselves with certain issues.
Been breaking up for 7 years, yo.
If you are saying, or you've just been unhappy for 5 years and 7 years and 10 years, and the more that you move, the more that you watch people transition, the more that you change, even just getting older, what you're saying is, I might feel like I have less and less and less opportunity for living my full purpose. Sometimes when you're younger and we talk about, when you have a personal fable, you might be saying, I can do anything and I'm going to do everything. And as time goes on and you get hurt by a culture that does not come together and support your gifts, what you can say is this gift doesn't have purpose, or I don't have a purpose, or I'm trying to find my purpose. The idea that you would have a lost purpose is not a Black, African, indigenous concept. There is no lost purpose.
No such thing.
But what we do have in our culture, you have the purpose, you have the gift. It's just not being supported.
Right.
So, your relationship is the most important thing. Your relationship with yourself, your relationship with another person, and us relating to each other is really all that there is. So now you're relating with people, yourself, animate, inanimate, but that's all that there is your idea of relation back and forth in the universe. So when you realize that everything is energy, everything is about purpose, we just need to shift our focus and take a little bit of practice to find what is the purpose of this relationship. The purpose of this particular relationship is for me to grow, for me to relax, for me to, be my silly self, for me to nurture, like there's going to be a different way for you to use your individual gift in the different purpose of a relationship or the different purposes of a relationship, but to really have that be at the top of your mind so that you're not in relationships that don't fulfill you. You're not in relationships that are draining, with those emotional vampires where somebody's just like sucking the life out of you because that's what you feel that you deserve. So sometimes we're angry and we're frustrated because of what it seems like someone else is doing. But because you are always relating, there is some measure of you participating in attracting or sustaining a vampire. So we have to say, hey, it's easy to call somebody else an emotional vampire, but it's not so easy to say, I've opened up my neck. I've opened up for you to please suck my blood. I've volunteered that I'm looking for several vampires to drain me. And you're never really drained, right? Because the existence is expanding. So even if you feel the contraction, it's in order to expand again. And energy never really goes anywhere. So that's all that there is. So you're not losing anything, but you can feel that way because you can think that way. And what we want to say is you can have the relationship that you want, that's in your heart. Your heart, mind is wanting to attract it. And you just have to get out of the way of saying that I don't deserve it. I won't have it. I'm too old for a new relationship. I'm too out of shape to attract the person that I really want. I'm, not looking how I am. I don't have enough money. So these are the complaints that we hear from people. A lot of times men say I'm not where I want to be financially, so I can't get the relationship that I want. A lot of times women say I'm too old. I need to lose weight. I need to do this and this and this before I'm really ready for a relationship. And because a relationship brings a different kind of awareness of purpose, you're really going to get more of yourself, be more of yourself, attract more, sharpen your ideas, practice your, creativity when you're in the relationship. But so many times we're not cutting people loose when we should. We are cutting off people that we really could be growing from. And then we're not actively saying what we want and who we need to attract. We were just speaking with someone, I think it was earlier this week or last week, that was talking about the idea of isolation. So in our field of counseling, there was, a call for thought leaders and, evaluators to talk about isolation. So at this time that is so full of love and relationships and happiness and singing and potential for something new, many people feel isolated at this time. Many people feel isolated or alienated from even people in their own family. Right. And in the midst of being so connected, like we're connected right now on the internet, live, all over the world, many people are just feeling empty and disconnected from a true source of divinity and a source of another person. And at the time when it can be so easy to connect around an idea or a hobby or your favorite book, your favorite music, we are not doing it. So I was just telling Masha that I watched a video from Jewel Pookrum today on YouTube. And she was talking about, yes.
We wrote a book with Jewel Pookrum.
Yes.
We waiting for that book to come out. But shout out to Jewel Pookrum.
She was speaking about who you are as a Black person and all that you have the access to because of your biological or chemical or physical makeup. But that physical makeup is just a reflection of the mental, emotional, spiritual makeup of who you are. So she said a lot of the things that we're feeling in a relationship, in education, and then in her specialty of your physical and, mental, spiritual, emotional wellness are self-imposed esteem problems. So self-imposed limitations, self-imposed esteem problems is really what we're dealing with because you have access to creating the universe. So who you are, if there's anything that you want, a relationship, an experience, to learn something, to be a part of something, to change something, even in your body, even in your health, you have access to the powers of the universe because of who you are. So much of what we're suffering from in a relationship is self-imposed.
Yes.
And now is the time, the perfect time, for you to get a little insight by reflecting and for you to get a true strategy. That's why we call our calls a soulmate strategy session.
Soulmate strategy. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Get Your Black Love. That's how I've been doing soulmate strategy calls lately. People have been bugging out. You just reminded me of that. We're free to put our creativity in our work, and we like to make people laugh and have a good time, even in the midst of their challenges or in their gifts. And I've been doing that. I think I did with like 3 or 4 people. The one sister said, now that is the most original thing that I've ever heard. But, it works. It helped get some leverage. So forgive me. I ain't mad. Go ahead. Cut you off.
So if you are looking for purpose, go to the bit.ly Akoma Heart to Heart link and get a free download about just what we talked about here, just the spiritual and the cultural understanding of a purpose. And then you'll also get downloadable kind of like a worksheet that we call Heart Work,
right,
that you can use to really work through what are your values, what are your beliefs, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and discover what your gifts are and what your purpose could be as an individual. Once you know that, you'll be able to draw compliments to that, and you'll be so much more fulfilled and satisfied by starting with yourself and really using those powers and magic and science of magnetism to, yes, bit.ly/Akoma Heart to Heart is where you can get the purpose exercise. So right now, this purpose program next year, it's going to be it's already a full program on communication, but next year we are moving out of the beta tests and we're full launching. The program will be available at the full price. Right now, you can get the program at half price, still at the beta test price for the next 30 days. When we do roll over to 2018, the cost is going to double. So this program starts out with purpose. It's actually capital A, I'm sorry. It's bit.ly/capital A for Akoma, capital H for heart, the number 2, and then capital H. So bit.ly is very specific. You do have to type it in exactly how it is. But we did put it in the description of the video.
Yeah,
so you
the
can
link,
click on that.
the link, Chameleon, the link is actually in the description of this video.
So you can check it out.
So you can just go up to the top and click it. The Akoma Heart to Heart. And what else is up there?
Well, the strategy session that we always put is up there.
Yes.
But Akoma Heart to
call with
Heart
us. We work
starts
with
with purpose. It starts with your individual purpose as a bonus. So that's
You're
not
the
even
next
really in the
contestant.
program. But what we find is when people have communication challenges, that they don't really know their own gifts. So there's a lot of struggle in, how what your upbringing is, what your personal style is. And it doesn't need to, thank you so much. It doesn't need to be a struggle. You just need to say, this is my gift. And the other person that you're talking to needs to be aware that they have a gift, but they have something to receive from yours as well. So we said, hey, from now on, we're going to be giving a bonus to what is your individual purpose before we even start talking about communication. So the actual program starts with talking about purpose. What's the purpose of a conversation? Is it to have fun? Is it to share something really intimate? Is it to argue? Is it to...
You just running your mouth. You don't know what the purpose is.
Is it just to be free? Do I want to just flow from thought to thought and share that? Letting someone know what the purpose is and you taking the time to listen, to be convinced is what I always say. Listen to the other person and look for their purpose of what they're saying and what their part of the conversation is without waiting just to interrupt and say whatever you want to say. So it starts out with purpose.
I was just about to do that. I was just about to interrupt to say what I want to say.
You can get that download free right now and check out the rest of the modules of the program. But Heart to Heart is what we're going to talk about actually going into the new year, so that everybody has the opportunity to catch it at this beta test if you're interested before we roll over into a full launch. And then there's also what you're thinking, how to manage your thoughts and make sure you make the wisest meaning out of every conversation, past or present or going into the future. And of course, there's the science of male and female communication, which is different. So it's complementary energy, the polarity again, the dichotomy, but it is purposeful, useful, dynamic, exciting, and passionate. So after that, after male-female communication,
we have active listening and effective speaking. Learning how to speak succinctly, alliteratively, and consistently hit the point that you are striving to hit, whether that is to just express yourself fully using your 7 senses, to agree, to disagree, one of my favorites, or to just understand and empathize with the other person. Then active listening. Listening to feel, to understand, and to discern what you are to do. So that's module 3. And then finally, or you said, he said, she said.
Yes.
So we talk about purpose, thought, active listening and effective speaking. And then he say, she say, the difference between the way men communicate and the way women communicate. That's what's in the Akoma Heart to Heart program. The communication program, it's a home study course, audio and visual. You get some of the heart work assignments, you get some rituals, you get some separate videos. It's the bomb. It's the show. You know what I mean? And so we see that communication is the number one thing that dating couples, mating couples, breaking up couples are talking about. So we launched this project, this program, to really address those needs. And so, the link is here. You can get the purpose bonus for free, and you can look at and make a decision about making a purchase that you can add to your love library and that you can use to impact the quality of your relationship now, before the end of the year jumps off. Because once the new Greco-Roman calendar switches over, the price is going up. So
and
make a smart purchase.
It's going to help you be reflective again, like what we're saying. And also it's something that you can revisit season after season.
Yes.
So really being able to say, this is something that, again, like Masha said, is in the relationship library toolkit. It's part of me enhancing my communication. And it's going to be levels that I take the information in, levels that I practice, and I'm just getting better and better at it. And so much of what we do is based on an experience, a ritual, a calling in of spiritual and cultural understanding, that's such an important part of Heart to Heart. So really like a ritual for forgiveness, a ritual for intimacy, a ritual for balance and communication. Those things are all included as a bonus to the program.
What's up, brother?
We just wanted to talk a little bit about purpose. We're going to be continuing the conversation over the next, actually until the end of this year. We're going to keep talking about relationship communication and really what it means to be fulfilled and happy and how you deserve that. You are longing for that. And some of the challenges that we have, some of the frustrations that we have are directly connected to the fact that we are not giving our gifts. We are not having relationships of purpose, but we are still having children. We're still, sometimes getting married, sometimes not. But we're still interacting.
Love you, bro.
So you don't want to, you're fighting yourself, to keep wanting to interact, to have intimate relationships, to create children, but to not be thinking of the purpose up front. And so much of what we're doing is learning on the other end, on the back end.
Muhammad.
And we do have the handbook, as Masha always says. It's culture that is our handbook for getting something right or bringing rightness to a situation. So it's not necessarily drop the people that you need to drop, cut the ties, truly cut the ties in your heart and in your mind so that you don't return to relationships that are not worth your energy, but also take the time to follow your heart and mind and look for opportunities to create the relationships that are going to support you, the ones that you're longing for. So you don't have a relationship that is weak, right? Diluted at that level 5. When we ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, you want the ones, you can have all relationships that are at 8, 9, and 10. You really can. Even if you haven't seen it before, we're here to tell you that it's possible, and to click one of the links for better communication or to talk to us specifically about your soulmate strategy.
So we look forward to serving you. As I'm in this very reflective mode, I'm just enjoying Nawasha's presentation and what she's saying. But, we are here to serve you. It's our mission, our purpose to serve you in your relationships and to help you to get to the destination that you believe is best for you. We want to introduce you to your culture. We want to introduce you to your power, and through your relationships, we want to see you introduce yourself to yourself. And so it's always great to meet yourself, and you meet yourself on a new level when you get into a relationship that's like this. So we invite you to join us on this love journey. Click these links and get busy. Akoma Heart to Heart is there. And as always, until the next time, what do we say?
Nia Akoma.
Take heart.